you did not.
Easy, we're going live. Say anything, please. Cameras on, guys.
Welcome to the Grappling With podcast. Dr. Chris Hardy and William Walker will take a deep dive into topics covering wellness and prevention, performance, recovery, and injury management. Our mission is to provide the latest science-based information to help you get the most out of your grappling journey, both on and off the mats, and help you overcome any challenges you may be grappling with. Dr. Hardy is a licensed physician and BJJ practitioner, but the contents of the podcast are meant for educational purposes only and should not be taken as medical advice. Please seek out personalized care from your own medical provider prior to implementing any medical treatment or intervention.
Hello, people. We are here with a special edition of the Grappling With podcast. Chris is off camera here. Hey. This is about as much as he ever contributes. And we have a nice special edition, the ladies edition. Ladies are in free. Dudes, $5. And we have also a purple belt, another purple belt, and a black belt.
Black belt.
Yes.
Accent.
Yes. I do have a good accent. And I figured we would kick it off with Andrea. We need to introduce you and figure out who you are, what you're about, who you're going to marry in life, all that. So, Andrea, how do you say your last name?
Emmel.
Emmel?
Emmel.
Good.
I thought you had a good accent. What happened?
I mean, you want me to put some spice on it? I am Emmel. Email. Andrea Emmel. Good?
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. I'll tone that down a little bit. So, Andrea, you are a black belt.
Uh-huh.
You've been training for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a little bit of details.
This year, actually, it's going to be 20 years that I've been training. Started when I was 12. I think I had little breaks. Maybe when I was a brown belt, I took a little bit of a break between purple and brown for about a year or so. I was tired of it.
Where'd you start training?
I started training in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, where everything started.
That was a little spice on that Rio de Janeiro. I heard that. So, what gym did you start at down there?
Well, the gym now it's called GF Gym, but when I was training, it was just like a community center where everybody that didn't have money to pay for training would train at. Mm-hmm. So it was like high school, and they have these community services. Like they had soccer, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, judo, karate, swimming. I actually wanted to do swimming. I didn't know what jiu-jitsu was. It was a group of 7 girls and I from my school. And because it was a community service place, they said, okay, well, you need to get started on something because swimming is really popular in Brazil. It's hot all the time. So they're like, okay, it's easier if you get on something else. I'm like, okay, what's open? They're like jiu-jitsu. I'm like, okay, sign me up.
Do you regret that?
Absolutely. No. But it's quite funny because on my very first day, I didn't have a gi, so they didn't even have like rentals or like gis that you could borrow. So I was just training on a t-shirt and my little shorts, and I broke my arm in like 2 places. I broke my elbow and my wrist.
Wow.
First on a takedown, very first day.
Oh my God.
I didn't have a gi. I had no clue what it was. I couldn't pronounce jiu-jitsu. It was just like, I don't even know what I was doing.
And
broke
then
my arm.
You somehow made it back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, did you just get it, was it wrapped up and then continued coming to class? Or
No, I wanted to quit right away. And then my mom was like, no, if you quit now, you're never going to do anything in life. It was just something that, yeah. Well, first she didn't believe that I hurt my arm. So it took a few weeks for her to take me to the hospital. So I have like this picture from school that we had like this project that I was presenting with my arm like this. Because my mom wouldn't take me to the hospital.
What a badass.
I know. And then I think she finally like, okay, maybe she's not moving her arm. She needs to go.
Right.
So they wrapped up with that. What is it called? Like the white thing?
A cast.
A cast. Yeah. Like a very old style.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had that for a couple months, I think. And then so she took me with my cast on. She took me to jiu-jitsu and then talked with my master and said, listen, I just want to let you know that she's not quitting. And if she doesn't come to class, let me know. Because when she takes this off, she's going to go there. And my master was like, okay. All right. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Shout out to the Brazilian mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put some dirt on it. Give you a steak. A little picanha. Yeah?
Yeah,
Did I say that good?
you did.
Thank you. And it'll get better.
Exactly. It did get better. Look at my arms, perfect.
I know. We're going to measure them later because as we have black belts on, we measure their biceps.
Oh.
And we fully expect you to beat Andrew on the size category there. How long you been a black belt then?
I got my 3rd stripe when I turned 30. So 9, 10 years, 10-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the most memorable belt promotion or stripe?
I didn't get stripes ever. I never had a stripe in my belt.
You look depressed.
I don't know. It was
You
not
said
a
that
thing.
very depressed.
It was not a thing in my academy. It was not something that my master did. It just
Yeah.
like, okay, you ready? Here we go. Here's your belt.
Do
With
you
the
do
D.
stripes?
I do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I teach, I think it's important. I have a different view now on stripes. I think it motivates the students, especially for kids. I mean, I was 12. I deserve some stripes, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
I broke my arm and I came back. I should have gotten a stripe just for that.
Yeah, just for coming back.
Yeah. But I think the most memorable belt was my purple belt. It was my favorite belt. I think that was the belt that I was killing it. I was like so good at a purple belt. It was like the best time I had was a purple belt.
Now, I remember when I first started, I was going to the Bellevue gym, and you were, I think, still actively competing. Does that
I don't
sound right?
remember.
About 2017, were you still competing at that point?
When I moved to the U.S. about 10 years ago, I hurt my knee and I stopped competing. Then I went back in 2014 to do the Pan Ams. And then after that, I did like small IBJJF opens, but was never very active after my knee.
So the last major you did was Pan Ams.
Yeah,
How did that go?
it went well.
How did you do?
I won, Bill.
Oh my goodness gracious. Her fiance is cheering over here. He looks like Santa Claus. That's amazing. He was just fist pumping. Took his pants off. It's weird. Well, thank you for the intro. We're happy to have you.
Happy to be here.
Brittney, we kind of know you,
Yeah.
right? A little bit.
Yeah.
But why don't you just give us another little quick intro? Who you are, what color your eyes.
Which nickname you like the best?
Oh, jeez.
Which nickname?
Well, I'm a purple belt. You know that.
Put the stripes out there. Put people on notice.
3 stripes.
Heat.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I don't know what else would you want to know. My favorite nickname?
Yeah. What's your favorite nickname?
Tell them all first.
Can we get a couple?
Oh, gosh. Well, I have a few. So Professor Mohammed, black belt, which he should be on here soon, right?
Hopefully. I mean, that head might not go through the little door.
Head should be a problem.
He started calling me Homer, like Simpson.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not my favorite.
I would
But
think that
it's
would be more
funny.
for me than you.
Yeah, I mean, well, it was my, he caught me drilling and I was really tired and he said I look like Homer Simpson doing a cartwheel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So slightly offensive.
Yeah. And then Chris likes to call me Zohan because sometimes I accidentally upkick people. But that's usually like not my fault.
Right.
That's called a foot uppercut.
And
Quality
then,
move.
what's the other one? There's one other one.
I don't
think
know.
there's.
I thought there was some other
It's the
offensive
one
ones.
that Andrew calls you.
Oh, he always likes to just say it's Brittney, bitch.
Oh, he just wants to say that.
Yeah.
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 Every time he drives up to the gym and I happen to be there before him, he does that to me. He rolls his window down and goes, "It's Brittney, bitch." And then he just drives off. He doesn't even let me respond. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Olivia,
Yeah.
you're in the middle seat. Some call it the bitch seat, but we're not going to call it that today. It's the princess seat
Thank you.
because you're a princess.
Thank you.
What belt rank are you?
Purple.
Purple. That's amazing. Any stripes?
1.
One stripe. Solid.
It's not impressive.
You're in the thick of it. You're in the thick of it.
Yeah.
So, ladies, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about being in jiu-jitsu as ladies. Now, I'm going to throw a curveball at you, though, and we're going to talk about something that happened recently, and that's the Gordon Ryan versus Felipe Pena. Porquisa?
Preguiça.
Porquisa. What does that mean?
Preguiça, like
Yeah.
the sloth?
Is that what that means?
Yeah, like
That nickname.
like the animal.
I am going to assume.
Yeah.
That's not as cool of a nickname as I thought. I thought it was going to be like,
He looks like one that you've seen. Whatever.
I mean, he's got long limbs for sure, but I didn't think you would run with "I am the sloth." That surprises me.
It sounds bad in Portuguese.
Yeah, it does. It sounds cool. It sounds like you're saying Godzilla or something like that.
Yeah.
So they just had a match, and it had some controversy to it. If people don't know that there's been a lot of John back and forth between Gordon Ryan and Pena, and a lot of trash talking. And then, unfortunately, we talked about last episode, Leandro Lowe, which is a very good friend of Pena, had passed, and in like very horrible ways. And Pena actually didn't want to do the match. Then there was a bunch of negotiation on trying to postpone it or change the rules. Gordon Ryan said he will postpone it, but he didn't want to change the rules. That was a big deal. So they negotiate a little bit more money, and Pena decides, okay, I'll do it under the same rule set. Pena wanted to limit it to an hour. It was a no time limit, but Gordon didn't concede that. So he got a little bit more money, and they ended up doing it. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, with that, they also went about 45 minutes, I think it was.
Just under.
Just under. And Pena maybe cardio tapped. I don't know. Mentally tapped. What do you guys think about that?
I think that's a way too long of a time. This whole no time limit doesn't really interest me at all.
Yeah.
I think it's too much.
What, like, as in from a perspective of the viewer?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It gets boring, basically.
I think so.
I mean, that is true. I mean, because then Gordon could play his game, which was he was going very slow, and he wanted to fatigue him out. So he didn't have to, like, ramp up. I mean, he said he was only at, like, 60% when he was doing the match. And, like, he was like, I was just starting to ramp up when I saw he was getting tired. And
Yeah.
so...
What do you think about that? Do you think that's BS?
I think it's BS.
You think that's BS?
I mean, I kind of do, only because, I mean, that was the first time I've ever seen Gordon Ryan really look like super challenged.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like a really good match. Like, it was evenly matched. And I felt like I really wanted to see it end a different way.
Like, definitively.
Yes.
With I mean, it's no time limit submission, so you'd like to see a submission.
Yeah.
Would be
Right.
nice.
I actually think Gordon was pacing himself.
Yeah, I tend to think he was pacing
as
himself
soon
also.
as Pena walked up and like was obviously tired and went to like the ref or whatever, like whoever there was.
Right. He was like going to quit, or then he went
Well, it
back.
looked like he was buying time.
Uh-huh.
And then as soon as he did that, and then they went back down, and then Gordon was like, could see like or smell blood in the water, and was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going after him. And he literally was passing him when he was like, I'm done. And you're like, okay,
Right.
you know,
Right.
so.
Yeah, I don't know if he was doing 60%.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
low number.
Right.
yeah.
And I think there was a couple times that he wanted to, like, I think it was the second time he got Felipe down. I don't think he wanted him to get up. He was trying to hold him down.
I'm sure Pena was stifling him
Yeah.
for sure.
And Pena is really good at getting into 50-50.
Yeah.
Like every time he would pull him in. Andrea, did you watch this match?
I did.
Okay, just making sure. Because you're quiet right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't like that match at all. And I don't think, like some people were saying that was like humiliating for Felipe. I don't think that at all. I don't think Gordon showed his jiu-jitsu. I don't think it was a really good display of his, I don't know. I just don't think it was good at all.
Yeah. From a practitioner standpoint and a
Yeah. A viewer. Yeah.
viewer standpoint, you hated it.
Yeah, I couldn't even like watch the whole thing. I was like, okay, yeah, glancing at it, and then Brian was watching, and I was just like, oh, Gordon actually looks pretty tired right now. I never hear him like that, see him like that. So I don't know. I know that he said it was his plan and he was going to 6 and then he wanted to do this, but I don't know. It makes me question, like, you wanted to go like that? Like, to not, like, submit him? To not, like, actually humiliate the guy that you're talking a bunch of crap about? I don't know.
It's like if we believe him, it's he was doing a different kind of humiliation. I'm going to put him in deep waters, get him tired, and then I'm just going to do what he did to Pedro, right? But there might be some truth to it, and I think that's what it comes down to. There's some truth to that, but I think it was a lot harder fight than he thought it was going to be.
I agree.
From Felipe. Did Brian cry?
No.
Because he picked Pena to...
Brian picked all Brazilians.
He did?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I think he had to.
Well, he picked a Brazilian, as his life partner.
He did pick
there
a
you go.
Brazilian for his life partner.
Well, I picked Brian, but whatever.
Hey. Is this an appropriate time to say poha? Can we say that?
Oh my goodness.
What does it mean?
Porra?
Yeah.
Shit. Like,
So maybe not appropriate time.
yeah, like, maybe like damn, I guess, depending on how you're using the phrase.
I first learned that term from Professor Renato Aranja. And that was the first time I ever heard that term. And then it was weird because then it started sticking out everywhere. I could hear a bunch of people say poha.
I hear Henzo say it a lot.
Henzo says it a lot too.
Yeah.
Why is that?
We say it a lot.
It's just we.
We, as a national word that we use.
So since we're in the learning corner right now, what about caralho?
Oh, I don't.
That's a bad one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I use it a lot too. Well, like that one is like, it's like next level.
Oh, okay, like the F word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably won't say that one much anymore. I used to say that when I would just be shopping for steak in the grocery store.
Yeah. I would avoid that one.
Oh, really? Jeez. Okay. I won't do that one anymore then. Olivia, what did you think about the Gordon Pena? I guess you could say there was a lot of controversy with him stopping. And then, as Andrea said, there was people that kind of were calling Felipe weak and like all this kind of stuff. And then Gordon kind of was shitty after, but because Felipe was a little bit shitty also. So it was, there's obviously bad blood. I mean, do you think, what's your take on that?
Just like my opinion.
Yeah. Like, do you think it was bad that he took more money and competed? Do you think he should have just stuck to his guns?
Well, I think if he wasn't in a mentally like good place, I don't think he should have competed. I think he should have, not like changed the rules for like timing, because I mean, I do think Gordon Ryan makes a valid point of like why would money and or time make any difference if you're in a place mentally where you shouldn't be competing?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but then, I was reading some conversations online saying how, there needs to be more, maybe like managers or people to represent people who are like, who feel like pressure to do something if they're in a bad place mentally, to like come in and be like, hey, he shouldn't be competing, and like kind of like, support them in that instead of them feeling like the pressure to do it and then having excuses after.
Right. What do you guys think about the money coming into, because obviously a big thing that happened was money influenced this, right? They offer, Felipe, he didn't want to do it. And he admitted after that he made the wrong decision. He just shouldn't have done it. Mm-hmm. He should have just pulled out, rescheduled, whatever. But they offered him more money, and he took that. Some people are saying that this is actually a negative thing for jiu-jitsu, that there is more money.
It's like an Americanization.
It's, capitalization or Americanization of the sport itself, and it's actually bad. What do you guys think?
I don't think it's bad. I mean, maybe in that situation, like, he should have turned it down. And I mean, it's hard when money's involved, but I think you're the elite athlete of your sport, and like all the professionals, they're getting paid. Like, this is an opportunity for people coming up in jiu-jitsu. If you really want to make it to the top, you could make a living at it, so I don't think that money is bad coming into it. I think it's going to get more popular, and as it grows more and more viewers are watching, I mean, they deserve to get paid for these matches.
Yeah. Andrea?
Yeah, I agree. I think the money is a good thing, and I don't know Felipe's situation, but I do know that a lot of professional jiu-jitsu players are on the top and have been like multiple champions. Like, they won like 2 or 3 world titles and they have no money. They maxed out credit cards to go. I mean, Rodolfo, he won like 2 championships with no sponsorship and like maxing out credit cards, and like a lot of the females do that too. So I don't know, maybe that how much ever they offered him more, it would make a difference,
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I think the money is a good thing.
Were you training at GF team when Rodolfo was starting to come up?
Yes.
When he was like maybe not at his peak and everyone knew him as Rodolfo and Buchecha, but like that right when he started really coming into black belt probably?
Yeah. Well, I met Rodolfo, he was a white belt.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then just through that training, you guys were at the same time?
Yeah.
Roughly. There was something else we were thinking of, Olivia, with the Gordon and Pena that we want to bring up. People were mentioning stuff.
Well, I think they're just mentioning like that they felt like it was getting away from the roots of jiu-jitsu, the money aspect, that they felt that there's not enough support for people who are going through like mental health stuff. Mm-hmm. And so... Yeah,
because people are being a little bit shitty to Felipe.
Oh, for sure.
They're kind of torching the guy, which, I mean, if the guy admits, hey, I made the wrong decision, it's like, I feel like you can't torch the guy anymore. It's like...
I always think, speaking as a doctor, looking at mental health, man, if I had a good friend of mine that just died the same day, I don't know what kind of decisions I could make that were... I think I'd be really out of it. And as far as making good decisions and stuff. So I'm always erred on the side of, hey, let's give him a break. You know what I mean? I don't know if anyone would make a real rational decision when you just found out one of your friends was just killed. So
one, I think, people were also kind of talking about like flow grappling. Maybe they should have, looked out for him, since he obviously didn't have anybody to look out for him. Like, flow grappling should have been like, you know what, obviously this horrible thing happened. You don't seem like you're in a good state of mind. We should, delay the match.
Well, so, Brittney, do you pay for flow?
Yeah.
Well,
Glenn does, yeah.
I don't want to put you on blast. Be like, no, I've been using Andrea's login for the last.
No, yeah, we do.
Did you guys watch anything before Flow Grappling existed?
I don't know. He's always the one that does all that. I just watch.
When he just puts it on and stuff.
Yeah.
Andrea, do you remember like the Budo videos days?
Yeah, I do.
So do you think
Making me feel old here. But yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I guess that if you know what Budo videos is, then you probably are a little older. Or senile. Do you think what Flow's doing is positive in the community? Compared to, I mean, obviously you came from the Budo days where that was the only way to watch stuff, really. Right? And I don't know if you can remember what those feeds look like and stuff like that.
They looked horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good thing what they're doing. I wish there were like just others doing. I mean, I don't know, just like, I don't know how much support they could have given like in that situation for Gordon and Felipe, but like they had a 24-hour on Leandro Low for like just views. So I was kind of wondering, and I don't know how the conversation went with Felipe and Flow Grappling, but like how much were they actually pressuring to like
Keep it on.
keep it,
Yeah.
you know, like did he feel pressure to make that decision? But I think it is a good thing what they're doing. I mean, it puts jiu-jitsu out there for everyone to watch it.
Yeah, and they are upping the level of quality for sure. They have, from a technical person's perspective, and even you guys probably even recognize it, is there are some major issues when it comes to audio and all that. Even when stuff's supposed to start, they can't put the start times on their social media posts, which we complain about all the time. But they are upping the level for sure. But we want a little bit more. And we don't want the ads to be the full screen of our TV, and then the match is
The
this little tiny thing.
thumbnail.
Yeah, and the audio unsyncs. So then you're
Or-
watching a bad kung fu movie.
Or every time you click out of it and you click back in, it goes to like 2 minutes worth of commercials before you can watch the match.
Some of us have golden retrievers, and they jump on the controller, and it switches the channel. So then when you try to go back in, and it happens to be right at the end, but now you got to watch 2 minutes in ads. Are you kidding me? I'll kill Frank. That's just what it comes down to. Frank's dying.
That's our dog.
That is our dog. Okay, well, I just want to touch on the Flow Grappling and Gordon versus Pena kind of thing because it's topical. It's just happened. Wanted to see if you guys had any spicy opinions about it. Next is what you guys can speak on to each other more than I can. I'll just have to shut up. Maybe Chris can jump in, but it's grappling as a woman, and. That was a shot. Like that can't be a shot because that means it's like mean to grapple as a woman.
You're calling Chris a woman.
That's rude,
Yes.
Bill.
You're
But that's-
basically insulting me
Yeah.
As
using
them.
as an insult.
Yeah, it's like saying we throw like a girl or something.
I'm sorry.
Jeez.
So
If Carrie were here, she'd give you the dirtiest look.
she would.
and she'd insult you.
She'd put a finger in my butt.
Oh my goodness.
She's a doctor. It's not weird.
Chris is looking at you.
He wants to put his finger in my butt.
Oh my God.
So
Offered several times.
such a gross old man. So what's difficult about grappling as a lady in starting jiu-jitsu? So obviously that can go through the whole journey, but especially for ladies that are just starting, it seems intimidating. Maybe they have a friend or a significant other that already trains, and they see these people dripping sweat on each other. Mm-hmm. They are getting really close, very awkward positions, butts and faces. How do you cross that bridge? How do you get through that? What's some advice that you guys would have?
Do you want to start? Want me
I
to
started
start?
so young, I don't even know.
I always like really look up to the girls that come in on their own. Like I came in with my husband. So I felt like, even though I was a little nervous and I was like, people are sweaty and really close, and I've never had that kind of contact. Like I always think like, gosh, I can't imagine being a female walking into like a male dominant gym by myself. So when a girl comes in, I always try to like do my best to introduce myself, make them feel welcome. When I was starting, I feel like, I mean, that was the biggest hiccup for me, was to get over like, you want me to do what? Like, I got to mount? What's mount? Like, you know, it's just like really weird positions. And like, I think that a lot of girls that I talk to, like doing their hair, and I'm always like trying to recruit people to come in and train. I'm like, you should come. It's so fun. They're like, oh, I cannot imagine like a sweaty guy just like dripping sweat all over me. And I'm like, but you don't even think about that. You know, like it's weird. Like you think about it before you're there, but you're focused on so many different things that's not your main, unless it's like, you know, like if they're stinky, which is not usually. Most people in our gym are pretty good at hygiene.
I like that you don't tell them, no, they don't drip in your face.
They do.
You just get used to it.
You do.
You don't notice it anymore.
You do. But I feel like that's probably the hardest, like, is just getting over that weird hurdle of that. But then once you get into it, like, you don't think about it anymore. So I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah, it's good. So Andrea, you were saying because you were a child, basically.
Yeah.
It was.
So I didn't have that barrier to break. Like, it was a bunch of kids just playing. So it was super fun.
It just seemed like roughhousing almost, right?
Yeah. So it was just super fun. I think for me, it was more actually them to look at me as a girl as time went by. It was difficult to go over that bridge because they would look at me as like one of the guys, you know, that I was just there. And they're like, they couldn't go like that rough with me. Like, hey, you know, I know that I grew up here, but I'm still like small. You're going to break me. That was hard for me. But then I think what was really difficult then transitioning as a woman was doing no-gi, because I was already, like 17 when I started training no-gi. And that was like taking off the gi. The gi was like my protection almost. So when I took off the gi, I was like, ooh, I don't like this. This feeling is weird. So that was a little difficult for me.
Right.
Liv, what about you? Like doing no-gi, did you have a similar thing?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. Yeah, I agree. Gi is definitely feels like I don't know, like a blanket or a security or something. I definitely prefer having that. Plus, I like the fact that there's more grips and different things that you can do. I find gi to be more, I don't know, not challenging, but interesting, or it keeps my mind working more because there are so many more techniques you can use with it. And yeah, so.
You can kind of slow down bigger people.
Yes. Yeah. Because to me, like, no-gi feels more rustly, but maybe that's just me.
What about going through the journey, right? Now you're not, no one's a beginner anymore. What kind of stories do you have? You have to have something funny.
Funny.
From a lady's perspective.
Oh, there's like, I think there's all kinds of things that ladies, I mean, we kind of were joking about it earlier, but like our bodies are different. And so there's certain moves that work well for someone who doesn't have anything on the top. Then it's uncomfortable for us, right? So
like example.
Like what?
Like an example.
An example. Well, if you get caught in a triangle, Bill.
Never happens.
Somebody please catch him in a triangle.
The week is going to suck.
Andrew will.
Yeah, he will.
But like sometimes it's not just your arm and your head in the triangle. And you kind of are like really uncomfortable. And you have to like grapple with this mental note of like, if I remove my body part that's in this triangle, I'm going to get choked and finished. But this is really uncomfortable. So that's something that guys don't have to worry about.
That's true.
Didn't you get kicked in the crotch one time too?
I think
I don't know why there was like a funny story about that. I was just thinking.
I mean,
that's not like a female or male thing, but
I think I did actually. I kind of forgot about that, but now that you're saying that, it's coming back.
Did you kick someone?
No, I didn't kick anyone.
Well,
I did not.
there's probably a couple crotch kicks coming from Brittney, if we could be honest.
Or like the move that we were just talking about, like that we were drilling in class, Andrea.
Yeah, Andrew was just showing this one arm bar that you like spin on the chest, and I was like, "Oh, no, we can't do this one. This one is not for females. Like you're not gonna spin over." Like Brian was doing on me, and I had to put my hand like this, and he's like, well, "Move it." I'm like, "No, I can't move it. You're gonna hurt me. It hurts."
Yeah.
Did Brian then say, "You're impeding my jiu-jitsu growth"?
No.
He's nice.
He was nice.
Well, he's got a couple months till marriage. He's probably gonna be.
Yeah, he's minding his P's and Q's pretty hard right now. Oh gosh. So having the different anatomies and such, is there anything that you have to think about? Like, is there anything that pops into your head that's like specific that you guys have to really like focus on, or like whether it's knee on belly or just any sort of positions that you guys have to really be conscious of?
I don't think so.
When people get side control me, I'm always like trying to like protect myself. Yeah, like triangles too. It's like a little difficult. It can be a little awkward if the person is awkward. Yeah.
I was actually I think it was maybe Friday night's class or maybe it was Thursday. I can't remember, but there was a male and female drilling, and we were showing, I think it was Friday, and it was kind of like a diving knee cut, right? And he's much newer than her, and so he doesn't quite have it. She was doing it. It was fine. And then when it was his turn, he was being a little clunky with the knees and the shins on the knee cut coming through. And I remember I had just walked over when he was like, yeah, "How was that?" And he asked her how that was, and she just responds with, "Well, you would have been pissed if I did that to you." And he was super confused. Like, I don't understand what that means. And I go, you probably, if she was you, would have just ruined any hope for kids. Is what I'm saying, my friend.
Right.
And she was too shy to say anything else like that. So it was interesting.
Yeah.
Going through those kind of experiences.
Yeah. I mean, I think for the most part, like, there's nothing that really holds us up, but it is a little different,
Yeah. I feel like we have to think about everything, like how am I going to tie my hair? What kind of sport bra I'm going to wear that day? What kind of shorts is underneath? Oh, this one's not good because if they pull here, it's going to pull this and it's going to do that. So it's like more preparation into going to training than a male would think.
Mm-hmm.
I think the hair thing, it's like always so frustrating, It's like, I think we all have been in a position where like someone's knee is on your hair and you go to shrimp and you're like, and you hear like it ripping and you're like, I think I'm bald. I look like Bill. You just scalped me.
I am Bill. Yes. I think Olivia would get the most mad at me when she was at this in-between period of short hair, longer hair. Like it was when it was like shoulder-ish length, you couldn't really tie it up, couldn't put in a ponytail or nothing. So when we would be drilling, I'm the biggest jerk in the world because I'm stepping on her hair or pinning it to the ground or something like that. Mm-hmm. And she's the one trying to move, but I'm a piece of shit.
Well, and like when we started, I remember like kind of starting to watch like different like competitors and like Instagram girls they had like all had the underneath shaved, like the ponytail with the underneath. And I'm like, why are they doing that? That's so ugly. And then like I started training. I was like, oh, like all of that hair is like this long and the rest of my hair is like this long. It's because it gets ripped out. So it started making sense. I still won't do it, but I understand it.
So
now.
that's a functional thing.
It is. It's
Because
functional.
I feel like I see that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it now.
Recommendation. When I say short hair, I don't mean like
Above the ear.
yeah, like a pixie.
Okay, good job, Phil.
Thank you. But is it better to have longer hair? Is that an easier thing to deal with for you guys?
I think there's a middle of the road.
I think if you're gonna have short hair, it has to be a pixie. You can't be like in the middle, because then if you tie it up, then the bottom goes down, and then that's right where they grab it on the lapel. So if you're gonna have it short, might as well be really short. And then I think it's better for me when mine's either very short, like a pixie, which I had it before, or if it's really long, because I can braid it. The halfway doesn't work.
I agree.
Livy?
I agree.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree as well. What about some going back to maybe advice for someone that's, there's some ladies that are listening to this that are thinking about making the walk into the gym. What's some advice for those people? They're contemplating it. They're thinking about it. You guys can discuss this among each other, not me.
I think just come in. I mean, like, I know that it's hard, but even if you can get like a buddy or a friend to come up with, I think that would probably be the best, because then you guys have that security of like, you're not coming in alone. But I mean, especially if you have a good gym like our gym, I think, it's kind of intimidating, but I mean, especially for self-defense, even if you're not going to want to like compete or anything, I think it's good especially for moms. Like, I've tried yoga and I love yoga, but like, it's not as relaxing as jiu-jitsu. I know that sounds super weird, but when I go to yoga, like, my mind's still wandering. Like, I'm like, how many minutes are left? Like, what am I going to make for dinner? Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be like focused. And like, my brain just kind of scatters. But like with jiu-jitsu, you can't think that. When you're sparring, you don't think about anything else. And I think you guys have talked about that a lot. But when you leave, I feel like refreshed and new. And I think it can make you a better mom, because you've got all that like aggression and frustration and stress out. And so I feel calmer. Yeah, I mean, I think it has many benefits, not just the physical, but the mental. Yeah, I think you should come.
Yeah, I think it's important to like try a bunch of different gyms and see which one you like the best. Which ones do you feel more comfortable in? Like, because sometimes it's hard to find a friend that wants to go and do like jiu-jitsu with you, right? So if you can't find that person but you still want to do it, like, try different gyms. Don't try and go sign up for the first one, because it might not be the one for you. And you really got to feel comfortable with everyone that's in there. I think that's really important. Sometimes you're like, oh, but it's closer to my house, and maybe I should have just tried to stay here. No, if you have to drive 10 minutes more, just find one that you're really comfortable, that the professor, it's nice enough for you, like, I don't know, a place that makes you want to go there. It's important.
Right. A community.
Mm-hmm.
Olivia?
Well, my experience, and especially for anyone who's an anxious, introverted person, is go and visit a gym, but like just sit and watch a class. Like, you don't have to do the first class that you go to, or even the second class. I did that at Cascade. I went and I watched a couple to kind of see like, how it was. Like, okay, everyone lines up and then they bow in, and then warm-ups and everything. So you can familiarize yourself with that. That can help a lot if you have anxiety. And then just realizing, like, no one is expecting you to know anything, because a lot of times people will be like, I don't know what I'm doing. And it's like, no one expects you to know what you're doing. So like, take that pressure off and just go and enjoy it and learn something new. And yeah.
Right. I think too, like, don't be afraid to be the new person and ask questions. Like, I think kind of snowballing off what you were saying, like, you feel like you're supposed to know stuff, and then you're like too shy to be like, what's that? You're just like, okay. Mm-hmm. But really you're like, have all these questions. Like, that's one thing is like when you're coming up and you're learning, like, it's okay to ask, and it's only going to make you better, So, I felt like when I came into the gym at first, like there was this group of girls and they were all friends. And I remember watching them and being like, I don't think they like me. Nobody's looking at me, and it took me a while. Like at first I felt like they didn't really like give me the time of day, and I just kept coming and drilling. And then all of a sudden, like, I start sparring with them in situationals, because then it's just like, whoever's next. And I think they probably, coming from a different point of view now, there's people that come in and they come for like, 10 classes, and then maybe they don't come again. So they maybe don't put the effort into getting to know them. But now, like, being like been there for a while now, it's like I remember how it feels to be the new person. So I try, when there is especially a girl in a male dominant room, to just say hi, but don't don't take it personal. Like, just keep coming. And I think that was like my main thing is like, you try to fit in and you feel like you're an outcast or something. It's not like that. It's just, there's a lot of people that come and go in the beginning. So.
Yeah. Well, and not always when you go to a gym and you see a bunch of girls that's going to be your place. I mean, girls are super competitive. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, like, when people talk with me about, like, oh, should I have, like, a women's only class? And I'm like, no, we don't need that. Like, I'm super against that. But I don't know, maybe you can have guys that are really nice too, right, and they will help you, like I think there are things when you go try a class, if the instructor doesn't ask how you did on that class right after, maybe that's not a good place. If everybody's like going at each other, killing each other, maybe that's not the right place for you. If everything's super dirty, if they talk about not washing their belts, that's not a place for you.
Calling someone out.
Yeah.
Who is it? Who doesn't wash their belts?
I don't know.
Who used to not wash their belts?
Brian didn't wash his belt, but that's disgusting. Absolutely.
I'm happy we broke that. How much worse did his jiu-jitsu get after the first wash?
I don't know who came up with that you lose all your knowledge when you wash your belt, but it's not a thing, people. I wash mine. I have always washed it.
Well, the more you know. So you said something kind of interesting there, which was you don't believe in the all-female, girls-only club.
No.
Why?
I just think it's so hard in jiu-jitsu. They get so competitive, especially when they start to they get promoted. And then, like, now that you're a blue belt, you can no longer tap to the white belt. Mm. And then it's just always drama. I don't know what it is with females, but there's always a little bit of drama. Like, oh, did you see how Brittney pulled my hair? Huh. Like, it's just, like, so crazy, like, how that stuff happens. Yeah. I don't know what it is. And plus, I really think that, so what is the purpose? This is what I think. What is the purpose of the women's classes? For them to train hard? Why can't they do that with the guys? Mm-hmm. Then the instructor needs to talk with the guys that they need to learn how to train with the females, and maybe they'll learn some good things, Right. I just think if you want something to be inclusive, you have to include them. Mm-hmm. We're not gonna put them in a corner and be like, do your thing. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think too with like when you were saying like the cattiness of girls and stuff, it's like, I mean, I've had it where I'm gonna go ahead and like say it, but like, I mean, I'm not like, I roll competitively, but I don't think I roll unsafe. And to me, it is jiu-jitsu. It's not yoga or cheerleading or something. Like, you're fighting. So, like, if there's a scramble and you're trying to get on top, you both are going to try to get on top. But I don't leave that role thinking I'm mad at somebody if they beat me. Like, I'm always like, analyzing in the shower. What did I do wrong? What do I need to do better? You know, like, but I just try to make me better. But some people, I've noticed, like, all of a sudden it's like, well, you're too big to roll with, you know, like, you're bigger than me, so I don't want to roll with you. But then they'll roll with guys that are bigger. So it's like, they'll be okay to lose to a guy, but not a girl. Like, there's that kind of cattiness that comes into the gym, which sucks because everybody rolls different. And if we all rolled together, we'd all make each other better, you know? But
Yeah.
We put all your guys' like heights and weights on the screen so people understand the context. So.
Brittney Hinojosa, aka Gabby Garcia.
Tractor. This is new nickname for you.
Please don't. I don't need another.
Well, how should guys roll with you? What's your recommendation on that?
They can normal. Like there's nothing that needs to be special, you know, like they just need to match. And this is a keyword, matching whatever I'm giving them, right? Like, so if I'm being a jerk, feel free, be a jerk back, you know, because I feel like that's another thing that a lot of females don't understand is that like, oh, I'm kicking and punching and doing this because he's a guy and then he needs to take it. No. If you're punching and kicking, you better expect some kicks back.
Yeah.
You know, so I just think that match, you know, like if you have to like really yank something and use all of your strength, then, I mean, if you feel great about that, awesome. But I don't know, I feel like you can always match whatever that person's giving to you. I try to do that even with lower belts, you know, with the guys. I'll match whatever they give me. If they start to being a jerk, then I'll, you know, like show them something else. But like, yeah, but I don't think you need anything special other than, don't pull my hair. But that's about it. Like, you don't have to, because I also don't like when guys take it easy on me.
Yeah.
You know, like
It's obvious and it's awkward.
Yeah.
insulting.
Yeah, I'd rather them be too hard than too easy, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just because then I feel like they're like a rag doll, and I'm like, what are we doing? You're just gonna let me pass your guard, and you're not gonna do anything? Like, drives me insane. I'm like, you gotta pick it up.
Right. Mm-hmm. I feel like, you know, rolling with someone who's experienced is a lot different too. Like if you're, you know, going with a brand new day one white belt and he sees like, oh, you have a black belt. I'm gonna see if I can beat this black belt. Mm-hmm. And you know, you're not very big and there's like this huge guy and he's coming at you. Like, don't do that. Like, you know, like I think that's a little jerkish, you know? But at the same time, I kind of like sometimes rolling with a bigger white belt because I think it prepares me more for a self-defense situation. Most of the time they're going to be bigger and most of the time they're not going to have jiu-jitsu training. So I think that it's good to put myself out there sometimes and do that because, you know, it's like if I can, it doesn't mean I have to win the match, but if I can like play spider guard and keep him off of me or, you know, keep him close to me where I feel like I would, you know, be able to like, you know, bump his base and get on top and get away, then that's like practical training for something that I hope never happens, but it's more realistic. So,
yeah, maybe like beginners. I would say if a female white belt starts to train today, I would tell them to avoid the purple, the white and blue belts for sure, the guys. Mm-hmm. But if, I mean, you as a purple belt, you know when to even like tap, you know, and like, oh no, let's stop. Like you're gonna hurt me. But I think a beginner, like a brand new girl coming in, I would tell them to avoid the white belts for sure. Because they would do that even to another guy. So I don't even think it's just because I'm a girl they're doing it to me, but like they would do it to anyone. They're just crazy. Right. So
yeah.
That's what they do.
And I usually it's like awesome when it's a controlled situational because like I know like our gym, like Professor Andrew, like if we're in line and there's somebody down and they're open and I'm next and he kind of can gauge the room. So he'll be like, go ahead. Or he'll be like, he'll have somebody else go. And like that, I really appreciate, because if he's sending me in, like obviously I have my knowledge, but I trust that he's not going to purposely put me in a bad position too. So
I have a question, Andrea. Did you think like when you got your black belt, like you were going to just be able to like destroy everybody? Like, I mean, like men that are like lower belts, or do they still give you problems? Because sometimes I feel like there's kind of like an unrealistic expectation of like, oh, well, yeah, I'm a female, but once I get my brown or my black belt, like I'm just going to roll through these people or steamroll through these people. And I'm curious what your experience has been.
No, I didn't think I was prepared for the black belt. And thinking back now, I don't think I was. And it's just the way my master was giving promotions. He always gives when you like close to the next level, and then he bumps you up. So like on my purple belt, I think that's why I love this so much, is because I started losing. I got my purple belt when I was 17, so I was losing a lot because I was too young to be in that position. And then when I start to win like every tournament and like, yeah, now I'm winning, and then he like bumped me to brown and then same to black. So I think I was like very afraid of like disappointing everyone. I didn't think I was good enough. I cried the night before because I knew when I was getting my black belt. And I cried and I said, you can't do this to me. I just started winning again. And am I going to lose? What am I going to do? I didn't think I was going to win. And until this day, there are like other belts, they still give me trouble. I think you guys talked about it on the podcast. Like if you roll with a purple belt, especially it's the first time I'm rolling with you, you can expect some resistance from me because you totally capable of beating me up, like enough to do that. So no, I still think that there are people that give me trouble. Other belts.
Yeah.
So when it comes to advice for the new females, like we actually had one recently join, and she asked a question to Chris and I, and I think Brian was there too, because there was someone that I think they're maybe a week in, and they had mentioned that, how do I figure out who's safe to go with? Like what can I do? Can I ask someone? And our initial response was, well, just stick to upper belts pretty much is kind of like the easiest thing, or ask an upper belt. Like because she wasn't sure if that was okay to even ask.
Right.
Like, can you ask the black belt or the brown belt if, like, who's safe to roll in over here? Right. Which we encourage, like, yeah, definitely. I personally said I would ask brown belts, because a black belt, black belts don't, like, they might not roll with everyone. So they might not know who's in total, who's trustworthy or safe or not. And then they also might be too nice. And they might just say, oh, yeah, there's pretty much blue belt and up. You're good. It's like, yeah, and then maybe not.
Yeah.
So we said, if you want to ask someone, ask a brown belt. That's a pretty safe place to go. But I think we also said just stick to upper belts in the beginning, because they're not like a petite person. They're not a gigantor, but they're strong and stuff like that. But they had a bad experience already.
Oh man!
On their like second day or something like that. And when I say bad experience, I mean like someone was going hard and like almost like collapsed their wrists by flipping their hips and stuff like that. So
I think just what you said, like ask an upper belt. Drilling is one thing, but if you're going to spar, just watch the room too, because I think if you go with upper belts, you're pretty much safe, especially like all brown belts in our gym. I can't think of anybody that wouldn't be safe.
Brian.
You're pointing at Brian. Chris is calling Brian out.
Yeah.
He's like the nicest.
I know. That's why I did it. You're one of the nicest guys.
Yeah.
You could also pay attention to who the other females are rolling with.
Right.
So if you see, other women rolling with particular guys, you could, probably assume that they're safe to roll with.
That's a good one.
That's all I got. I can't think of anything else.
Well, you can also probably ask the other females.
Yeah.
And just be like, hey, who's your best training partners?
Right.
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 Andrea's looking at us like we're crazy.
No, I think it's good. But then like sometimes, and I'm not saying that this happened at Cascade or whatever gym, but like I've been around a lot of gyms, and then sometimes the girls are like, oh, but don't go with like Olivia. And it's like, but the girls are already telling on each other, you know, like Olivia, 5 pounds heavier than you. It's like, oh my God, you know, like it just gets a little. So I don't know if I would ask the females. I would watch. I think that one that you said, Olivia, it's really good. Watch where they're going, because if they feel safe enough, you're probably good. And what you said, Bill, I would go. Even the purple belts, I would reach out to them. Like purple belts, they usually like pretty hyped about showing stuff, you know, that like they like ready to prove that they know something, you know. It's like, oh, I'm a mentor. Look at this white belt walking around my shadow.
You are a coach.
Yeah. So they really hyped to show you something, you know, like they really want to show this new technique they watched on YouTube, you know. So I think they're safe too.
Shots fired.
No, it's true. I mean, I still I'm like, oh, I think we're doing it like this, but I feel sometimes embarrassed to like take that role ever anyway. Like I'm still like, don't ask me, ask Amy, ask somebody else, you know, because I don't like to like have to help in that way, because I don't want to teach them wrong. Like, this is what I do. Like, that's what I always say. Well, this is what I do. Because I feel like sometimes they want to know it all at once, and it's too much, right? Like focus learning the positions first. But they're like, well, what do I do with this? Or what do I do when I'm here? And like, you're not going to be able to absorb all of it that quick. It just takes time. So.
And stay away from YouTube. Stay away from it. This is not the place for you. You do not need a flying arm bar right now. You need to learn how to shrimp. Like, you don't need this right now.
Right.
Just sometimes they get caught up on the cool stuff.
The fancy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
When they don't even know how to shrimp, you ask them to shrimp. They're like, oh, like flop down to the side.
But look at this lasso guard I learned. Okay.
That's actually a good thing to think about. Like when you're rolling with someone new, like avoid doing that kind of stuff
Fancy
too.
stuff.
You know,
Yeah.
like one, they don't know how to defend. So if they jump and do a forward roll and breaks your leg, that's on you. Like they have no idea what you're doing to them right now.
Right.
So like stick to the basics so they can learn the basics, and they're gonna be good training partners for you. You know.
Right.
I just think it's important to think about that too when you're a higher belt, that you don't need to do all this cool stuff with the newer people, because if they hurt you, it's on you. And second, like they're not gonna learn the foundation of jiu-jitsu. You know?
I remember when I was starting, you came and you were teaching a class, and I remember you like, I didn't know any of the points. I didn't know any of the rules. And you said this to the whole class, and I was like, you're like, just stay on top. Just try to be on top. If you're on top, then you're probably winning. I remember you saying that, and I was like, okay, all right, I can do that. Well, I can't, but I'm going to try. So like, that was like kind of breaking it down. Just like, try not to just go like, I don't say balls to the wall, but
Hey.
like just learn the basics first, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a guard that you guys gravitate towards that you think is beneficial for ladies?
I feel like most females play spider guard, but I don't think that's a rule.
Why do you think that? Because I agree. I find spider guard and lasso are like really common. Not that that's just your bugaboo.
I love spider guard too, though.
Yeah.
I don't play either.
That's true.
I don't like them. I do not like spider guard at all.
Is that because the two ladies you train with the most play spider guard?
No, it's because I'm just terrible at it. I have short legs.
Box troll life.
I just don't move very well with it. I just don't.
Yeah.
I just don't gravitate.
What kind of guard do you think you gravitate towards then?
I guess I'm more like De La Hiva or collar sleeve kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What made you guys go towards spider lasso?
I was just the smallest person in the room, so it was easier to keep them off of me with my legs. And I felt like when I was on the top, passing was really difficult. They could easily push me away, and I didn't know how to apply pressure or like how to even like get a room where I can pass their guard. It was just too easy for them to sweep me, so I felt comfortable on the bottom. I could just push them with my legs.
Mm-hmm. I think similar, like I feel like you can keep them off balance, keep the weight off of you. There's so many options from there, like with sweeps. I've been recently liking omoplatas a lot, so going into omoplata from Spider Guard, I just feel like everybody kind of just gets something that they feel the most comfortable with, and for whatever reason, that was mine. It's destroyed my poor fingers. They look pretty ugly, but it's worth it.
What's the most embarrassing thing that's happened on the mats for you guys? It could be situation. Doesn't have to mean you crapped yourself or something.
I've never crapped myself.
That never happened.
I mean,
Has that happened to you, Bill?
Yeah, I would think, is that like...
I'm not going to say it hasn't, but...
He's not going to say.
Right. I'm just saying it's a debate. But it could just be a situation that you guys were a part of, or that you witnessed. That's also allowed. Or that you witnessed.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean?
And now you're like, do you have something? Is that like a secret?
No, I don't know what he's talking
Oh, no, I was saying as in like you're going to use your friend
Oh, okay.
as the example. My friend Andrea crapped herself.
I think my most embarrassing things, like I think it's just funny, but like every time, well, not like every time, but when I competed, I get so nervous. Chris is already laughing. And I literally just feel like I'm like short breaths, and I'm just like so anxious, and I can't even like think straight. And so all of the embarrassing things I've done is usually when I've competed. So one time they were checking my gi, and it was like down at Rev, and I think it was one of my first tournaments, and like I was like, oh gosh. And so I was so nervous, and I had gum in my mouth, and she told me to spin.
To spit on her face.
And I was like, huh? And she said, spin. But I swear I could not understand her. So I said, huh? Like 3 times. And then finally she's like, spin. And I was like, oh, I thought you meant spit. I was like, this is serious. Like what? Like hiding razor blades in my mouth or something? But it was like, I felt so stupid. And all the girls in my bracket started laughing. So I was like, oh, okay.
Brittney, I was there. You actually did spit the gum into.
Yeah, I did. I spit my gum out. I was like, it's just
On
gum.
her hand or your
in
hand?
my own hand. I was like, it's just gum.
And you presented it? That's very good.
And then the other time, like, oh my gosh, I went against this girl, and it was her first time competing, and she was like breathing really weird, and she was just like a rabid squirrel coming at me, and I was just like, and you kind of match that intensity, and so like I felt like, what the heck am I doing? I didn't even know what I was doing, but I accidentally kicked her. And she, like, I didn't even kick her that hard, but she like flew back, and she was like, ah, and like held her throat, and they like stopped the match, and I was like, and I know you're not supposed to talk to the ref, so I was all nervous. I was like, I'm sorry. Like I just kind of looked down, and he was like, it's fine. And so she got herself together, and then we started going again, and I beat her. And I was just like, I literally felt like I blacked out because I didn't know what was happening. And so I felt him kind of like jingling around by my hand, like he was trying to grab my gi. So I thought, oh, I won. So I grabbed his hand because I thought we were going to hold hands when he like raised my arm. And he like shook my hand off of him, like, what are you doing? And I walked off the mat just thinking like, oh my gosh, like I'm a disaster. And like from Glenn's point of view, he was competing at the same time on a different mat. And he said like he looked over at one point, and like the medic was over there, and he's like, what the hell is going on over there? Like, yeah. So just those are my embarrassing moments.
When you held hands with the ref.
Yeah.
Was
I see him still, and I'm always like,
was there a finger locking?
I did. I was like,
Full finger lock.
he like shook my hand, like, what are you, like, shook it off of me, like, what are you
Wow.
doing? But I was like, I thought when you win, like, you hold hands and then you just like raise them together, you know, like, yeah, I did it.
Can you imagine how awkward that would be, like holding your hands up like that?
I was a white belt, and I was like so nervous. It felt right.
Which ref was it?
Oh, I don't know his name. I still like don't know if I made eye contact with him. I'm always like, oh.
Like,
If I see him, I'll point him out.
if you
I could go back in pictures.
do
and find
another tournament and he is reffing, you have to hold his hand again. Yes, it's 5 years later, but you just grab that hand.
I'm be like, I'm gonna say we started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you lose, still hold his
Hold
hand.
his hand. I'll just stay down and hold.
Yeah, and just see how hard he like has to shake it off.
He'll probably be like, oh, I thought she looked familiar.
Yeah,
Weirdo.
yeah. I'll make sure I get video of it. And
Okay.
we'll put it on the Instagram. What about you, ladies?
I honestly don't recall any embarrassing moments.
Nothing.
No.
Come on.
I swear on my life.
You haven't seen anything?
I can't. It's my mind.
Yeah.
How about when you had to wash his gi after he pooped his pants? Was that embarrassing for you?
Bill does all the laundry, so. Well, with the keys, but no, I swear I can't think of anything right now. Not to myself. I can't think of other people either. I always hear stories though. Like, wasn't there one where it's like a fish hook?
Oh, yeah. Amy and I always we roll really hard, but we laugh a lot during our rolls. And one time, I don't even know what happened, but she her finger fish hooked my mouth, and I was like, and she was like, I'm so sorry, I stuck my finger in your mouth, and we were cracking up laughing. But yeah, weird stuff happens, but we still are love each other as we're trying to choke each other.
Andrea put her big toe in my throat just a week ago.
That happens sometimes to me. I don't know why. I always do that to people.
It's like a regular thing.
It's
It is. I remember when I went to visit my friends in Brazil recently when Brian went with me. And then my friend was passing, my whole foot went on his mouth. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I did not have that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm awful.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
That's
I do
amazing
kick.
accuracy.
I don't know.
It's a spider guard thing.
Yeah.
Do you sing the airplane song when you're feeding a kid? When you get into Spider Guard?
No.
Here comes the airplane. And then your foot goes in.
No. But my foot's always clean, so no problem.
What about other awkward?
I did some embarrassing stuff. I don't know left and right. If you tell me turn left or turn right, I don't know. I don't know left, and I know they can. It doesn't work. Okay, I cannot. No. So then I was at this tournament as a purple belt, an adult already, and I was getting choked out, and my instructor just yelled oh, push her right arm, and I helped her choke me out because I pushed the wrong one. He flipped and he's really loud. He was like, "Are you kidding me? What are you doing?" And I tapped him because I helped her choked me out. So I tapped him. He's like, "Oh, what happened?" And he's like, "What do you mean what happened? You just helped her choke you out." I'm like, "Oh, okay." But because I didn't know left and right, so I just choked myself.
I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when it's going fast like that and you're stressed. I get it.
Yeah. I don't know. It was really embarrassing, especially because I was a purple belt. I should know better. Why am I doing this? But I don't know. It just was so fast.
Oh.
Yeah. And I feel that there's always this awkward moment when you're training. That never happened in tournaments with me, but when you're training and someone goes to tap and they tap your butt by accident. And awkward.
Yeah.
Well, you tap their butt. You know, it's oh, tap.
You're
And
sorry.
Yeah. I actually rather you not say anything. Don't acknowledge. Let's just move on and keep going. But when you tap weird parts of their body, it's just move on.
Yeah.
Don't talk about it.
Yeah.
But those are always embarrassing.
Don't bring attention to it.
No, yeah. I just that happens too. Especially like no gi when people like doesn't have, you know. Yeah. No.
I know sometimes I don't understand like when like girls sometimes come in and they don't wear stuff like that is high under their gi. Like they'll wear just a sports bra under their gi. Like I can see in a tournament, but like in the gym and stuff, I'm always like, oh, that would be so awkward, you know? Because things like get pulled on and moved. Like that would, I feel like that could be like a Janet Jackson embarrassing moment.
I can imagine that would be fairly intense.
Yeah.
I mean, I've come across a dude training with no undergarments underneath his white gi pants.
I was there.
Yeah. White gi pants and
They were drenched, right?
a lot of sweat. His sweat, everyone else's sweat.
That's disgusting.
It was bad.
You can get disqualified for that at the tournament.
I'm just saying. He was a Kirkland student.
I don't believe so.
I will put this man on blast off camera.
Yeah, you gotta tell me who this is because this is disgusting.
Yeah, it was horrible. But with that, what are some recommendations for ladies and their training materials? Clothing, undergarments, all that kind of stuff. Is there some like go-to, like, hey, make sure you wear spats that are tested for stretching or something like that?
I think it's more important in no gi if you're with like spats. Yeah, you should do the squat test. Make sure that they're not see-through. Also, like under your gi, like especially this, obviously, if anybody has already trained, they already know this. But if they're coming in and they want to train, wear like shorts underneath your gi or spats under your gi pants because your gi pants aren't going to stay up always. So don't just wear underwear. Like,
Yeah, they could get
I think
pulled
that's
down.
something that's like sounds like duh, but when you're first starting, sometimes you don't know that. And then rash guards are hard. Like everybody finds what they like. I think with like long sleeve, short sleeve, I prefer long sleeve. But I haven't found a ton of rash guards that I like because they're not always for women that are like have boobs. I'm just gonna say that.
There's a doctor present, so that's okay.
Yeah, that's all right. But yeah, I think a good rash guard, good spats, and shorts for at least underneath your gi.
I don't like rash guards. I always wear a t-shirt.
I was gonna say, I think I always notice you wear a t-shirt.
Yeah, I don't like rash guards. I just feel like everyone smells staying a rash guard for some reason. It's just like disgusting. I don't like it.
You feel like the t-shirt comes out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't want to go home and when I put my rash guard in a bin to like wash to know exactly which people I roll with, like by the smell. It's just like so gross. I don't like it. I don't know. Yeah, I like t-shirts. Yeah, and I think like shorts too. Like when I wear shorts underneath, I make sure that they like long enough because if like they are not too short, but if they short, like when you start moving, they roll up, and that gets uncomfortable. Like you have to always be like pulling down, and it's hard to do with the gi. So yeah, I always try to have like pants.
You like pants underneath?
I like pants underneath, especially like the whole shaving situation. Like you gotta like make sure they have some pants on sometimes.
In case your gi comes up.
Yeah.
You're like, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just get so hot with pants.
Yeah.
But you wear a long sleeve.
I know because, when we used to do should I say
Lieutenant
that?
Dan?
I know that's like the terrible thing to say. We used to do those Lieutenant Dan drills. Like I literally have PTSD because, oh my gosh, the gi would just like rip off my skin on my elbows. So I started wearing long sleeve and never went back after those drills.
I only wore long sleeve like initially as a white belt, maybe into blue belt because spider guard. Oh my gosh, like it would hurt so bad in the bend of the elbow because the gi, you haven't built up that toughness yet, so it's just ripping your skin. But then Since then I switched to short sleeve and I prefer that.
Gotta let the gun show.
Exactly.
What about gi brand? We did this on the last episode. I gave my opinion. I think Chris might have. Gi brands that fit the lady's figure nicely.
I don't
You're all
know
different
if
shapes and
that's
sizes up there.
a thing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris. So, is there any brands that you guys have found that you
Is
guys
there
like?
really a feminine cut? I feel like there's no gis that actually fit really, like, you know.
I feel like I like kings a lot. I have long legs, so sometimes like they end up looking like capris easy on me. But it's hard sometimes because even the brands, like I have a few, I just want Hyperfly, and like I have ones that fit really well, and then I have the same brand and they're like a totally different fit. So I think like gis can fluctuate just from I like the competition gis, like the little bit lighter
Super light,
gis.
yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
I like Atamas. I have a few DFKCs that I like too. They have like female cuts, and I actually have this one gi that Andrew gave it to me that has no patches. It's just like blue, but that gi is perfect. It's like they made it on my body. Like I love that gi so much.
Is that one of the ones that you never wear?
Yes, I
your
wear that
collection?
one Thursday. I wear that one, which was like so. I told Andy like, "Oh, you see this kid that you gave me?" He's like, "I don't remember." I'm like, "You suck! Like, what? You don't remember you gave me this as a gift?" But,
Gosh.
that I like Atama, TFKC, and I like Hyperfly too. I think they're pretty good. I don't know, like I have very like my legs are very tight. Like I have chicken legs, so they also get baggy on me. But I think that's just my body type.
Right.
Yeah, I prefer Tatami. That's the ones that I like the most. That's the ones. I mean, I haven't really explored outside of that, so I probably should try maybe the Atama or the Kings. But I usually just stick to literally two gis, a black and a blue.
Mm-hmm.
Tatami.
Like not two brands, but like literally a black gi that she owns and a blue gi.
Because they're light, they fit, they've shrunk. The biggest pain in the ass is when you buy a gi and you have to shrink it up to fit. Because when you first get it, you know, it like pulls and then stretches past your fingers. And it's a struggle for me to get past that point, because then I'm like, I'm going to lose every single roll and I hate this. And I get into spider guard and I can't see my fingers. So I'm like, okay.
That whole ladies competitive thing coming out right there.
Okay.
And wearing
I'm going to
like
lose every roll.
Because my gi's sabotaging me.
Yeah.
And wearing like a brand new gi into the gym sometimes, it's like I feel like it's like a mark on you. Like
Oh,
I remember even Matt Zarati one time was like, "Ooh, that looks like a brand new gi," and I was like, "It is." And I think I was like new, and he's like, "I'm gonna be the first one to choke you out in it." And he's like the nicest guy ever. I'm like, oh, but yeah, it's like it's almost like you don't want it to look too fresh when you come in. You're like, I want to wash it a little bit first.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris wore a new gi on Thursday.
And it looked really good. I
And
wanted one.
I got a full handful of butt cheek. I walked up to him.
What?
Well, he
No,
was.
you did not.
Oh, I absolutely
I'm already
did.
assuming what you're going to say, and I'm...
No, you're probably
football?
wrong.
I was standing in line.
No, if you want, you can get in front of the camera and show him. But he was in line as instructions were going on. I think I got there a little bit late. And I noticed the new gi. So as I was walking past him in line, I just went in for a full.
Did he really?
Oh yeah.
I look like
No.
Voldemort just grabbing that thing.
Why?
Yeah. It's a good question.
He really liked the way it looked.
It's a good question.
So what did you do, Chris? Did you just like jump?
No, I said, what are you doing? And the classic, well, you got to expect that when you're looking that good.
Oh my gosh.
When I'm not present, right?
Complete sexual harassment.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it had to do with you not being there, but if you were there, I might have gotten a little less handsy. But I'm just saying, if he's going to wear a new gi like that, he going to get his butt grabbed.
Okay, at first I said you
amazing.
look like a little boy in that hat. Now I think you look like a guy that drives a white van. With a sliding door and curtains.
They got real creepy.
And an ice cream.
Yeah.
Cover up.
You're all dead. So we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what we were doing.
I'm going to embarrass all of you.
Okay.
Because you've now embarrassed me and my little white van hat. But I'm going to have Chris sit down. You guys can comment. So a couple of these are probably more for Chris, but you guys can also add to them. Okay. And I don't know how we're going to do this, but Chris is going to sit down for a second.
All right. Now we got that animal out of the seat. Thank goodness. Okay. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Like we're taking calls here. Hilarious. Oh, and they said "os" at the end with a lot of S's.
Okay.
Interesting. Signs that you might be overtraining.
That's the first question.
Mm-hmm. That was a question.
And you're going to answer it, right?
Well, what do you guys think? I can give my answer. We had a whole episode on overtraining. What do you guys think when you feel like you need a break? Like, how do you know?
I'm usually just really tired, fatigue. My energy levels are bad, or my strength is definitely like plummeted, or I'm irritable. I just don't want to go. Usually.
Yeah, that's very common especially when you really like jiu-jitsu and you really don't feel like training.
Yeah. Or usually like an emotional side too. Like maybe I'm more likely to like get upset if something doesn't go that way, or like have kind of like just be emotional. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about
I don't
Brittney?
feel like I'm the best person for that because I don't get to overtrain, at least with jiu-jitsu, right? Like sometimes Peloton.
I won't make fun of it today.
I know, I brought it just for you.
I
Because,
saw that.
You know, I'm hoping you get a free bike and like they're going to sponsor you. But
Never.
but yeah, I don't get to overtrain very much because we're busy with their kids' sports. So
Okay.
like there's days that I am exhausted and I'm like, oh, it would be so nice to just not go anywhere tonight. But like I have to go in when I have the free time because otherwise I don't get to go.
Yeah. Andrea?
I think if I'm getting hurt too often, I know that I'm probably too tired. I should take a break.
That's really good. Yep. Anything else? So I'll refer this person back to our stress episode. At the end of that, we talked about some things you can do to kind of test your body. Think almost like little biomarkers. Grip strength is one of them. People can, morning grip strength is a really good indicator of how the nervous system is. So if you had a baseline where you did, some grip strength with there's these little things you can buy on Amazon called dynamometers. They're basically a little thing where you squeeze them and it gives you a little readout and how much pounds you're squeezing. If you do that in the morning when you're feeling good, that will be your baseline. And if you start getting like a 10% or so drop in that, your nervous system's a little fried. And it might be something either like, hey, let me lighten up a little bit. And, the hey, I'm just going to go in and drill, right? That never works out really well for me. You're like, I'll just do one roll, right? But you really have to, if you really want to recover adequately, sticking to that. Resting heart rate in the morning, if it's, kind of elevated. We talked about heart rate variability too, and that's fairly complex, and you have to have certain monitor things. But a good baseline, if you usually your resting heart rate when you wake up is like 60, and you wake up in the morning and you're like 80, your nervous system is kind of switched over into that flight or fight system a little more. and you might want to consider taking a little break. But all the other things you said were right on, like, not feeling like training, feeling irritable. Insomnia is another one where you may have an elevated cortisol and you're having difficulty falling asleep. Could be a sign of overtraining. And what Andrea said is like, getting hurt more. Your nervous system isn't controlling your body that well, putting you in positions, and it's just not, firing on all cylinders, so to speak, and you're more prone to injury. So those are all good ones.
Have they experienced muscle aches?
Have they?
Just through training.
Okay. Bill is asking, have you experienced muscle aches through training? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like,
Of course.
Yes.
When do you notice that?
when do you notice that?
Well, it just depends on which muscle. I mean, my fingers, like playing spider guard, like sometimes like let go and I'm like it's still in the position. I don't know. It just depends on what we're working on. Like sometimes it could be like if we're doing a lot of warm up stuff, like Andrew likes to do a lot of core work sometimes. Like, yeah, I mean, it just depends, I think, what we're doing.
Well,
I always get muscle pain.
yeah, no, so do I. I mean,
Yeah.
it seems like so I'll tell you why Bill asked that. The question was, what does doc recommend for muscle aches?
Oh.
Shiatsu, chiropractors, spa day with the homies, ? And I'm quoting. So, we talked about, if you have access to like infrared sauna, I think that's super helpful. Epsom salt baths at night before you sleep. Active recovery the next day. So not just taking the day off, but, getting something to do, something light exercise to get a little blood flow. Even Peloton, Brittney, would work. As long as you're not getting super crazy with it. But those are the active recovery is huge. If you're feeling sore, don't completely take the day off of everything. Even a walk will help. Something like that is really, really helpful. But I would argue that for me anyway, every morning after a training session, I get up and, maybe it's just because I'm old, I start groaning and like, you can feel the soreness. I mean, it's just part of the game, right?
Couldn't some of it, well, I guess depending on what they mean, if they're talking about just soreness or if they're talking about like cramping and stuff like that. Because I know for me, I used to have that, and then having electrolytes and taking magnesium help.
The cramping is a completely different issue.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So cramping, you're probably
muscle
low
fatigue.
on electrolytes. I definitely would recommend right after, especially training, when you lose all those, not only water, but you're losing a ton of salt with it, to really replenish that. And there's various ones on the market like Element, Liquid IV, things like that were helpful. Magnesium's also very good. Don't take magnesium oxide, the cheap one you can get off the counter. That will give you diarrhea. Matter of fact, it's used for constipation, right? So like magnesium glycinate or aspartate or 3-in-8, one of the what we call amino acid chelates work really well for that. But yeah.
They know what collagen is.
What's that?
They know what collagen is.
Okay, Bill's asking me, do you know what collagen is?
Yes.
And
I mean, I don't know. I don't really know. Like, I know that, like, people take for, like, their skin and stuff, but...
how anybody else?
It's a protein.
Yeah.
And I think it's from a cow, right? Am I
Or
getting...
marine.
Huh?
Bovine.
Yeah,
or,
you can get collagen from collagen is part of our connective tissue. Everything, it's the scaffolding that holds muscle together, is ligaments, tendons, and I do take collagen, kind of the building block, especially as we age. The reason why old people get kind of saggy looking faces, don't look at me too hard, is because we do lose that structural collagen in our face.
It helps with gut too, right?
Yeah.
Or like bone broth and stuff.
Yeah, it can for different reasons. Yeah, but for injuries, I use it all the time, and it gives the building blocks for repair, basically. And if you're going to take supplemental collagen, make sure you take it with vitamin C. Vitamin C is a cofactor required for new collagen formation. So let's say I pulled a muscle or I have a tendon injury or sprained an ankle. Taking some supplemental collagen can actually help, because then you're giving the building blocks there and your body doesn't have to kind of make it on its own. It just can kind of assemble it.
Is there one collagen that's better? Because I've seen it in different forms. I've seen it in like powder, pill, liquid.
I like the powder. I put it in a shake. It's absorbed pretty well.
I had a question.
Yeah.
There's a gal that I follow, and she said that she was always taking the bovine collagen,
Mm-hmm.
and then she switched to marine because she said that studies prove that marine was better for like hair and skin and nails.
So there's different types of collagen, type 1, type 2, type 4, you hear about all that. I don't know if I haven't seen any studies to say that's the case.
Okay.
Right? Because, we're just talking about your body kind of will, if you give it building blocks, it will kind of make things. Those collagen things don't survive completely intact anyway. You still get digested, but it gives a lot of the amino acids. Collagen is a very specific amino acid profile too. So you're giving it more of the building blocks. I haven't seen any studies that show that one is better than the other as far as supplemental collagen at all. Matter of fact, I think it's all pretty good. If you take a broad, if you want to, you can take a broad spectrum collagen, but honestly, that stuff will be assembled by your body. It knows kind of what to do. If you give it the building blocks. Is that good?
That's good.
All right. Bill says that's good. So you guys have any other kind of passing thoughts? I'm going to pass this over to Bill so we can kind of wrap this up.
No, I think you can always ask when like the guys are here, not just the girls. I'm always curious to know like how the guys feel about training with girls. Like, do they feel like it's a waste of their time? It's like, oh, here we go. Even as a black belt, like sometimes, like I was rolling with Mohammed the other day. He's like, oh, you did great. I'm like, no, I did not. Like, I've been doing this long enough to know I did not do well. So like, I'm always curious to know, like, are the guys thinking this is a waste of time, or is this a reason why they don't want to train with girls, or is it helpful to them? I don't know.
Yeah, that's good.
We have 3 dudes in here. I don't know if we can all get on there, but from my perspective, I can get something out of it for sure. But you do have to go into it. I think it's the same as if it's a very small person that's advanced, a small person that's not advanced, just a new person. Like, you can get something out of all of it. Kind of what you were talking about before, how like don't do fancy stuff with that new white belt. I swear when I've tried doing lapel guard on like first week people, and it doesn't work. It is so crazy. Like, they have the best defense to lapel guard than anybody, because they're not giving any reactions that I'm anticipating. If anything, they're just, I don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. But I can still get something out of that. But, to go back, I going with someone smaller or a female or something, you can totally get some, because I make it as if you guys are stronger than me. That's like how I go into it. So I can't break your grips. If you get a good grip, I'm not going to just rip that grip off. If it was Chris, maybe I would put a lot of effort into trying to break that grip. So now I'm just going to anticipate, okay, now you're stronger than me. I can't break the grip. So maybe I'll try to see if you just let go, because maybe you're playing that game too of if someone addresses the grip, I'm going to just let go of it. But if you're holding on to it, then I can't break that grip. I have to go around it. And you can kind of play from that perspective and almost turn the tables a little bit. Still be positionally intelligent, right? That's where you can come into the whole like dead fish thing, right? Where you're trying to pass, and if I just have these weak frames that you just go right past, no one gets anything out of that, right? But if I have some intensity to those frames and I know I'm positionally good, you're going to have to technically go around it. And then if you do that, okay, then you did it, and we have to go from there. So I think you can definitely get something from it.
Yeah, I really enjoy rolling with especially higher level females. It makes me, I go into just playing a purely technical game and really trying to purposely not use strength or athleticism, and I think it makes me better. It will shift my gears, and I always feel like I come out of it with like even sharper technique, especially I roll with several of you all the time, and I feel like I'm better every time when I do it. So I definitely get something out of it. No. You just whatever. Here. Brian, do you have anything?
Brian, come over here. We're going to bring Brian. You're going to sit on my lap.
Okay. He was Santa.
Sit right here, buddy. No, sit on my lap. Just come on.
Oh my God.
Bring it in.
So weird.
Yeah, just smash. Male, female. Yeah.
Put this smash on.
Exactly. No, yeah, I think to Chris's point, this is really awkward, but I think to Chris's point, I focus more on my technique. I focus more on my speed. I do keep in mind hair. So like when I get the side control and I wrap the lapel around to try to do the baseball back choke or what is it? The Bravo choke. Yeah. I'm mindful of the hair, so I'll like try to move the hair out of the way.
That's nice of you.
Yeah.
That's nice that you're doing that to other people.
But yeah, a lot
Her
of
haircut determines differently.
it's focused on technique. Because I know I just think men are stronger, and I'll match, to Andrea's point earlier, I'll match intensity. If they want to go hard, then I'll know to kick it up. But I don't know, most of the women I train with too, they're more technical. I think because you can't rely on your strength, you've geared towards like open guards, which I play a lot of. I do a lot of open guard. So for me, it's just more of like a chess match, like a really, really fun, high intense chess match. And if anything, I try to break your will by just getting you tired.
Gordon 2.0.
Yeah.
Gordon 2.0. Shout out Gordon.
I'll say you're lingering on his lap.
Yeah, he kind of stuck around me a little too long on that one.
Sorry.
I think, do you guys ever feel like, I mean, that was like such a good question, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to ask like guys to roll because I feel like that. I feel like I'm like, I don't want to waste their rolls or waste their time. Mm-hmm. But, you know, especially because there's more males than females in the gym, it's like, I love when, and this is like putting it out there, like I love when I get asked to roll, and I need to be better about asking, because that's always like the awkward thing. Like after class, it's like, I don't know if they want to roll with me. And like, I've been straight shut down, like not by males, but females. I've been like, no thanks. And I'm like, okay. And that's like, literally it's so, then I'm like, I don't want to ask them again, because then I already asked them, I said no. And then it's this weird like time that builds because it's been so long. Like, are they ever going to ask me? But like on Saturday, Brian asked me to roll, like Bill asked me to roll, and Jason asked me to roll. And I was like, I left there and I was like, like it was so fun because I got 3 rolls back to back, and I was like a good Saturday training, 3 good rolls. And I felt like it was so good to leave there and feel like I was really accomplished. So this is like a PSA, like don't be afraid to ask girls to roll either, because we want the roll. I think most people, at least I do. And I mean, do you guys feel like that, or do you want like to be asked?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I feel like people don't ask me all the time, and I always wondered why. Maybe because I'm Brazilian. People don't ask me to roll, but like I always wonder, like, do these people? I think I told you the other day. I said, Brittney, I love when you're here because you always ask me to roll. And yeah, a lot of people don't ask me to roll, but I always wonder, especially if people are competing. Like, I know that right now there's a lot of people getting ready to compete, and it's like, am I wasting their time? Should they go with somebody that their weight or that will give the aggression that they're going to have at the tournament or not? You know, like he always thinking I had strong grips, but Bill was just not trying to break them, apparently. So I don't know. It always gets into my head, like, I don't know if I'm good enough for them, you know.
Don't let it get into your head. He's just being Gordon. He's just like 60%.
I am 60% of the time, all the time. Well, I'm not saying that every time I try to break grip, it's just going to happen.
Yeah. Keep digging.
A little bit. So,
No, but I like most of the people in our gym, I feel like, as upper belts at least, like I never feel like it's unsafe to roll with. So if you're an upper belt, you can ask me to roll.
please ask me to roll.
Yeah. I'm trying to be better, like asking lower belts to roll. Like it's a cool feeling too when you're like a higher belt and you ask a white belt and they're like, yes. Yeah. Like they feel so special. So I'm trying to be better at that too. But yeah, I would like to see guys like ask to roll more often, like if they do get something out of it, you know?
Mm-hmm. I don't ever have any guys ask me to roll. I think I've had Chris and Bill doesn't. Well, I guess he asks. He just assumes, I think. But nobody else. It's weird. I don't know. Yeah. Wow. I don't have any guys ask me to roll. Maybe it's because I just sit on the bench and I don't do anything. They're like, she's done. She's done. Which, to be fair, sometimes I am. So
True. So yeah, sometimes you're over it.
Basically.
And for that day.
I'm on my phone.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's like an awkward middle school dance, you know? It's like make eye contact and then someone looks the other way and you're like, you know, it's like, it's just so silly. It's like such an easy thing. It's like, do you want to roll or not? But I don't know. I get nervous to ask too. So,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, with that, I want to thank you guys for coming on. You guys have all been animals. And I mean that in a good way.
Oh, thank you.
I had someone actually, when I said that to someone, and they were, I believe, Russian, and they go, what do you mean my animal? I go, like you're
Russian accent.
You're a beast. It's great, I know.
his accents are really
They
good.
go, you called me like dog? I am what you mean dog? And I go, no. Like a beast, like a bear. And they still were like, okay. And I said, all right, that's it. So you guys are bears, and I really, really appreciate you guys coming on. If you got anything, shout it out. Otherwise, we're going to blow it up.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Subscribe.
Oh, like, subscribe. Holla at your boy.
I feel like a YouTube video.
Yeah. All right. See y'all.